Let's dive right into this explainer because we are looking at a truly fascinating, high-stakes collision between artificial intelligence and human biology. We're standing right at the edge of a new frontier, a place where the very code of life is being read, analyzed, and completely rewritten, not just by human scientists anymore, but by incredibly powerful computational models. And that brings us to the question cutting right to the heart of our narrative today. If artificial intelligence writes our DNA, who writes the rules? As we gain this absolutely unprecedented power to rewrite the human genome, we have to urgently ask who truly holds the pen. It's a massive ethical dilemma. If an algorithm is out there deciding exactly which genetic variant to target or modify, who's actually accountable for that choice? Section 1. The AI CRISPR Revolution. Now, I know you're likely already familiar with our biological baseline here, the genome. It's the entire sequence of DNA, basically the instruction manual for our development, packed with all the complex genetic variations that make every single one of us unique. But understanding this baseline is absolutely crucial for our discussion, because altering this code is incredibly delicate work. Literally, a single misstep can have profound physiological consequences, which, for a long time, has been the primary hurdle in genetic engineering. Historically, traditional genome editing, like the CRISPR-Cas9 system we all know, has acted sort of like a pair of molecular scissors. It's incredibly innovative, sure, but historically prone to what we call off-target errors, where it accidentally cuts the wrong part of the DNA. Well, AI-enhanced CRISPR completely changes the game. By utilizing deep learning, AI acts like this ultra-precise, context-aware spell checker for our DNA. It analyzes vast amounts of data to predict exactly how those editing tools are going to behave. These computational methods maximize precision in a way we just haven't seen before. Deep learning models are now predicting the efficacy of guide RNA, or gRNA. You can think of gRNA as a biological GPS, and the AI, it's like the traffic app, calculating the absolute safest, most efficient route to the target. AI tools like EpiCast-DL, for example, can even predict activity for epigenome editing. This means we can regulate gene expressions safely and accurately without actually causing any unwanted structural mutations in the DNA sequence. It's a monumental technical leap, drastically reducing off-target errors and making truly personalized, targeted treatments a real possibility. Section 2. The algorithmic power shift. But this is where things get really complicated. Historically, the chain of command in any medical intervention was deeply personal and highly regulated. You had a doctor consulting with a patient, guided by traditional bioethicists. But in this evolving tech-heavy paradigm, that decision-making is moving rapidly away from that traditional human relationship. As AI steps in to automate genetic target selection and predict editing outcomes, the power shifts straight into the hands of software developers, AI models, and the tech corporations that build them. Which leads us to a crucial warning. As algorithms begin selecting our genetic targets, we risk surrendering our organic biology to a corporate black box. As these massive AI models are integrated into healthcare, we have to prevent the exploitation of the technology. Think about it. If we don't know exactly how an algorithm arrived at a decision to alter a human genome, we completely lose our grip on informed consent and medical accountability. Section 3. The global governance dilemma. So how is the world trying to manage this? Globally, we're seeing two highly distinct approaches emerging. On one hand, you have the World Health Organization's framework, and on the other, a comprehensive inquiry launched by the Nuffield Council on Bioethics. Both of these organizations absolutely recognize that human genome editing holds incredible potential, but they view the regulatory landscape through slightly different lenses, especially when it comes to heritable editing, the kinds of changes that get passed down to future generations. When we really break these frameworks down side by side, you see the true depth of the governance dilemma. The WHO is taking this broad institutional approach to global health. They're heavily focused on responsible regulatory stewardship, global health justice, and ensuring that tools for both somatic and germline editing are monitored safely across borders, basically stopping rogue clinics from operating in unregulated spaces. The Nuffield Council, however, zeroes in super deeply on the profound social and ethical impacts, specifically regarding human reproduction. They're anchoring their framework on the welfare of the future person, literally someone who cannot consent to having their genes edited, alongside the core concepts of social justice and solidarity. This brings us to a simple but incredibly powerful principle from the Nuffield Council, highlighting the deep concerns of civil society. There's a very real, very pressing fear that if heritable genome editing becomes a commercial service, available only to the wealthy,
It could fundamentally alter population diversity and society's perceptions of normal reproductive choices. It could reinforce existing inequalities and create a completely new form of genetic discrimination. Both the WHO and the Nuffield Council make it crystal clear: any governance framework has to protect equitable access and fiercely defend human rights.
Section 4. Corporate ethics and transparency. Because AI requires just a massive amount of data to function, tech companies now bear an immense ethical responsibility. They are the ones collecting and storing highly sensitive, deeply personal genomic data in the cloud. These corporations must prioritize data protection and privacy above all else. Plus, they're essentially on the front lines of preventing unauthorized edits, having to ensure their models aren't used for ethically sensitive applications. This is absolutely critical when dealing with vulnerable populations who might have limited decision-making capacity, like minors or individuals with cognitive impairments. Their autonomy has to be protected from undue influence. All of these concerns funnel down into one defining concept: algorithmic transparency. We literally cannot rely on systems that just spit out a result without explaining the why. Because without algorithmic transparency, we risk unethical exploitation and unauthorized enhancement interventions. We're talking about things like designer babies engineered for non-medical traits happening completely outside of regulatory sight. Bottom line, if tech companies want to operate in this space, their predictive models must be fully explainable and open to scrutiny from doctors, patients, and global regulators alike.
Section 5. Who decides our future?
We are standing right at the intersection of two radically different worlds right now. On one side, you have the messy, beautifully complex, organic reality of human DNA, shaped by millions of years of evolution. On the other side, you have the rigid, mathematically optimized calculations of artificial intelligence software, and we are using the latter to rewrite the former. The benefits here could be miraculous. We're talking about potentially eradicating devastating genetic diseases, but the risks to our shared humanity are equally profound. So I want to leave you with this final, stark thought to consider. As these technologies merge to become faster, cheaper, and infinitely more precise, the line between medicine and code disappears. As we step into this new era of AI-driven gene editing, who is the real doctor? Who enforces the ethics? And ultimately, who gets to decide the future of our species? Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. It's definitely a lot to think about.